All right, giving this voiceover thing a test run. This is going to be high-risk vehicle stop, clearing options for the vehicle. This is going to be post-stop. So we got everybody that we think is out of the car, and now we need to go up and actually clear the vehicle. So I'll give you 6 options, a few that I recommend and a few that got sent to me by other people. All right, so option 1 is going to be a 3-officer package being led by a shield, and 2 officers will follow. As the shield leads up, he's going to dump off officer number 2, who's going to stage to the rear portion of the suspect vehicle near that D David pillar. Then the shield will push up to the first known threat, which will be that rear left door, and the number 3 officer will be the breacher for that door. So shield man will have the gun out. Number 3 will be solely responsible for the breach, and then he's going to let the shield work, rinse and repeat for the next remaining door. And feel free to take a look at the write-up, pause it if you need to. All right, next option is going to be a 2-officer package. This will be keeping it as minimal resources as possible, pushing down to the suspect vehicle. It'll be led by a shield again and followed by another officer. The clearance method for this is exactly the same as option number 1. The only difference here is that we're going to lose that person holding at the D David pillar. All right, as you can see, they push up. The clearance is the same, right? Shield will post on that rear left door. Number 2 will be the breacher. He's going to pop the door. So basically reaching in the front of the shield briefly, opening the door, and letting the shield work. All right, you should be able to clear about 90% of that car just from that popping of that door, and then move on from there. Feel free to take a look at the write-up, pause if you need to. All right, third option will be another 2-officer package, but this time we're going to be adding a flanking element or setting up an L on the car. So you see the number 1 2-officer set up exactly the same as we did for the first 2 options, and then we have a flanking element on the left side of the screen there. And this flanking element can be a single officer or 2 officers, ideally using some form of cover off to the driver's side of the vehicle, basically setting up a big L on the car as you approach the vehicle. So as the number 1 shield man approaches that door, he has no gun in hand. He's just going to be dedicated to the breach, and number 2 will be his lethal cover. They're going to pop that door, and they're going to have a plan to, as they pop that, they're going to back off and retreat, and basically station back to the rear of the suspect vehicle and allow the flanking team, the team off to the left, to clear what they can from distance. All right, then they will reapproach, see what they can see, and then they will finish the same process off with the front driver door. The roles of the number 1 shield guy and the number 2 person can be flip-flopped. Obviously, the shield guy could be lethal cover and the number 2 breach, just like the other options. This is just a method that was sent to me from another officer. Okay. Feel free to look at the write-up, pause if you need to. All right, option 4 goes into the more traditional linear assault type clears. This is not something I necessarily recommend for this type of clearance, but this is a very common option out there for police departments, so I'm going to cover it. All right, so this will be very simple in nature. Shield man will lead up, followed by number 2 and 3. They will push up and remain in their file the entire way, right? So the nickname of this would be like a train pulling into the station, right? So it's just keeping the same file the entire time. Shield guy pushes long to get to that A pillar / looking into the windshield. Number 2 goes to the driver door. Number 3 is the rear left door. Here's right up. Pause if you need to. All right, 5th option, still remaining in the linear assault package here. Instead of keeping in the same file, we're now just going to do, it's called a leapfrog. So the shield guy will post to the first known threat. 2 will kind of leapfrog over him. Number 3, leapfrog off of him. All right, so we're just going to post, and then the next officer will kind of fill the gap. So as you can see, shield guy posts at the rear left door. Number 2 bypasses and goes to the driver door. Number 3 goes long to that A pillar / windshield angle to cover those angles. All right, feel free to pause for the write-up if you need to. And final option here, still in the linear assault package, is going to be what we call intel driven, or the shield will be basically pushing to the biggest threat in the vehicle or potentially suspected area of where an individual will be hiding. All right, so for this example, we're just going to use the driver door. So the shield's going to push up to that driver door, and then the other 2 officers are going to find a hole and plug it, right? So obviously, number 2 sees the shield guy stopping at the driver door. He's going to bypass and then go long on the A pillar or front of the hood area. Number 3 will post to the rear of the car to that rear left door. If the intel was different, and maybe the driver, when he came out and said, hey, my buddy's hiding in the rear passenger seat, then the shield may drive up to that rear left door and hold there, and then the other 2 officers would bypass. 1 would go to the driver door, 1 would go long to the hood. And the last of the write-ups, pause if you need to. All right, so wrapping this up, we had 6 options we covered, 3 more methodical or deliberate clears, and then 3 were more linear assault type packages. Everything has their pros and cons. Just make sure you are training and figuring out what is best for your environment, your mission, your manpower, and your training level. My personal preference would be using option 1 or 2, keeping the package minimal as possible and keeping the tactic very simple. The benefit of this, it allows guys to move at a pace they can see and process information, and allows them a way out if they need to back off. All right, the linear assault style techniques are great for when we're trying to assault the vehicle, right? So think about hostage rescue or a vehicle takedown. As far as the context we're talking about right now, just a traditional high-risk stop and just clearing the vehicle, I don't think it is as beneficial as the other ones because you're pretty much committing to the vehicle. You're not really giving yourself a way out, but it is a very beneficial tactic when we are trying to assault that vehicle. So my thoughts, hopefully you guys enjoyed this.